Hello viewers of Gnostic channel. Today let's analyze Virgos so that we can know a little bit more about them, to better understand them, to be able to live in harmony with them, and for those who are Virgos to understand why they are the way they are. Astrology is a wonderful tool of self-knowledge, and that is the reason why we study it in Gnosis. Virgo is a sign ruled by the planet Mercury. We have already spoken of the planet Mercury when we talked about Gemini. These two signs are ruled by the planet Mercury. And as I said in that video, Mercury is the sign of the intellect, of science, of knowledge, of medicine, of communication. And in Virgo, it would be Mercury ruled by the element Earth. So even though Virgos have the same intellectual capacity as Geminis do, they have a very capable intellect that is more stable, more centered because of the influence of the earth element, with less anxiety, more calm, and more consistency. So let's talk a little bit about the Virgoian's mind, because it is indeed very interesting. For these signs, these two signs ruled by Mercury, their intelligence is their greatest gift. It's their mission in the world, to share this intelligence with people. The world benefits from people ruled by Mercury. They have an incredible intellect, an ability to use reason to find the deep meaning of things. When reason is used without this higher purpose, it becomes a battle of affirmation and negation, and it becomes full of doubt. And as the phrase says, doubt is the rottenness of the soul. Doubt takes us off course. Doubt leaves us lost. So the heart needs to be balanced with the mind. This is something that both Geminis and Virgos need to do, to use more of the heart. If the Virgo mind is channeled in a positive way, they have the capacity to differentiate, to organize, to compare, to analyze and reflect, and also to discern and select. But I believe the word discernment best describes the Virgo's capacity. They are able to observe a situation and see what is positive and what is negative, to see both sides as Geminis do too. Thus, Virgos have a tendency, as they perceive the problems and details of life, of situations, the details of people and things, they have a tendency to focus on the negative. So they need to positively use their ability to select and to analyze things, because this ability will be useful in any area in which they work. For example, of course, areas that require attention to detail are most appropriate. Yet a Virgoian artist, there are several of them, will have an attention to detail that is not normal or common. So if they're a painter, for example, they paint with a richness of detail, a richness of tone. They see in green, an infinity of tones that other signs may not be able to see. They manage to capture the essence of a scene. In this huge attention to detail, the fact that they put so much effort into the details is pleasant to see in the Virgo's ability to work, but might make them feel like it was not worth it, that people do not value it, because the vast majority of people, that is, everyone who is not a Virgo, does not have the same vision of detail. So it may be that the Virgo was working for a long time to fix a specific detail of that painting, and people look at that painting and say that it is beautiful and leave without noticing or paying attention to that detail. So Virgos need to be careful not to spend too much time with details, because in the end, in general, it might be that the detail is not that important. And that also applies in daily life, because the opposite sign, Pisces, teaches a lot to people of Virgo, because Pisces is the sign of unity, of mysticism, of spirituality that transcends ourself, transcends quantity, measurement. It transcends the mind. So a Piscean sees the big picture in a situation. They see it from above. What matters is harmony, compassion, and sensitivity. And Virgos need to learn to see the big picture so that they do not have this feeling that the situation is negative, that the problem is serious, that this needs to be solved, that this needs to be corrected. Because this attachment to perfection produces a constant dissatisfaction in the person. This can be in relation to the physical aspect. The Virgo can be very critical of themselves in the physical aspect. So they always seek to improve their diet, seeking to have more presentable appearance. If one hair is out of place, they want to fix it, which ends up placing too big of a burden on themselves, both physically and psychologically. That everything they do has to have a level of perfection because perfection exists only in their head, only in their own perfection. They visualize that this has to be like this. If it does not reach that level of perfection, which sometimes is impossible to achieve, they get very sad and frustrated. They feel that their effort was not worth it. And a Piscean would say that it looks very nice, it worked out. They would see the big picture. A Virgo should be able to have the same capacity to see beyond details, and everything has its good side. So they're people that in any area, as we said, will be helpful and efficient, attentive to what is happening, and critical. They can be literary critics, consultants who make a company reach its maximum efficiency in that area, in that aspect. When we need order, when we need discernment, we need Virgos. Cleanliness and hygiene, health, and all of that. This sign rules health and medicine, so we find many doctors of this sign and people who also work in social assistance because they love to be useful. Usefulness and proactivity are two essential words of the Virgo. So although some have an aesthetic sense and value beauty, for them an object has to be useful. It has to be practical, like what it's used for and what place does it have. So as they visualize from the point of practicality and usefulness, they want to be useful to others, and they want what they do to be useful as well. Another interesting astrological aspect is to analyze which part of the body is ruled by that constellation. And the part of the body ruled by Virgo is the intestines, not by chance, because the intestines select, extract nutrients from food. They do this process in differentiating and separating what is good and what is bad. And not by coincidence, it is very common for Virgos to have intestinal problems. Because the stress of perfection, the stress that collects, the stress of criticism, it puts too much tension in this region of the body. This problem is generally related with the constellation of Virgo's exaggerated perfectionism. So if the person eliminates this perfectionism, they will also eliminate this health problem. But Virgos can channel their efficiency and analytical ability for good. We all need a Virgo friend to show us the logic of a situation. We hope you have enjoyed the video. If you liked it, give us a like, keep visiting our channel, and subscribe. If you are interested in knowing what is Gnosis, check our self-knowledge courses. You will have information about it on our website. There you can see where to find a Gnostic Center. www.gnosis.is. Thank you very much.